Hi and welcome. I'm Bob. Welcome new subscribers. I don't get to thank you enough for stopping by and viewing my videos. I've been having a lot of trouble uploading them onto Minds. I get them there, but you go to click to play and you get a black screen for 5 minutes. The video's 5 minutes. I don't think viewers like that. So I try to make my videos family friendly enough so they can go on YouTube, even though my YouTube channel is shadow banned and I don't care about it. It's a convenient place. And later on, I'm going to do a BitChute special, and I hope you'll tune in for that one. I grew up in North Milwaukee. My grandmother lived there, and then later we moved elsewhere. But in 1964, we had the Philly riots, and that affected the area that I lived in, even though it was very small. In 1967, the Winston-Salem riots, and that didn't affect Milwaukee too much, but a little bit. And then 1968, the Chicago riots, and I remember that one because it did affect the city. But under Donald Trump, we've experienced the lowest Black and Latino unemployment in American history, which is really great if you're Black or Latino, because that's telling us that the economy's moving, manufacturing's moving, people are getting back to work. And that is really what it's all about. But at the same time, we're seeing all this violence directed at the White House, at Capitol buildings, and of course, at people that are perfectly innocent. And it sort of breaks my heart. I remember the Standing Rock incidents under Obama, where over 300 Sioux natives were injured by President Obama's efforts to lay in the Keystone XL pipeline. Now, under Donald Trump, that pipeline's been squished, and it's not going to go through the Sioux Nation, which is very good for them. Congratulations. And congratulations to the administration for allowing that to happen without being so forceful. Obama was the most authoritarian president we've ever experienced, and he had no regard for anybody except his own personal objectives. And under Obama, we laid in more pipeline and built more oil infrastructure than during anyone else's administration, including Trump's, which is rather amazing because oil is a big export now, or it should be. The current mood in the United States with the riots and the effort to hurt Donald Trump tells me that there's bigger players, and it's very well organized by international terror groups, what I call terror groups, such as Black Lives Matter and Antifa. Both of these guys are bad players, and they should be in the same book as ISIS and Al Qaeda because they use violence and intimidation for a political objective, which is the definition of terrorism. Now, George Soros thinks Donald Trump is illogical. When he was in Davos, he said some rather negative things about Trump, and we don't have time for all of that. But he just says that voting for Trump is illogical. He had expected him to be removed from office before the 2020 election, or he'll lose the 2020 election. Now, Hillary Clinton, who was also sponsored by old George in 2016 and probably in 2008 race, bought the Steele dossier, which instigated the Mueller probe. Now, that would be like buying a Tom Clancy novel and taking it and saying, look, investigate this Tom Clancy novel. It's all, and just because Trump's name is typed into it. It's exactly the same type of bullshit document that it's not even a document. Anyone could write this. In fact, I think I'm a better writer than Christopher Steele, to be sure. But the Mueller probe came and went, and we heard 3 years of Trump-Russia collusion, which actually was getting a bit tiresome. And CNN's ratings were actually falling off because people were getting tired of hearing about Trump-Russia collusion. So Trump makes a phone call to the Ukraine president and discusses some business. And then at that very time, they were reviewing some arms package that was going to be going there, an aid package, and they were reviewing it. Now, Ukraine was not aware that their aid was under review, and it didn't get delayed in their minds. It was just something that Trump was doing to make sure that the money was going to go where he thought it was going to go, because Ukraine is probably even more corrupt than Spain, if you can believe that. Spain is very corrupt. At any rate, they did an impeachment, or they tried to, and there was no indictable offense. There was no crime. It was just a matter of opinion and basically emotion. And it all died away. Well, that sort of fizzled out. And then the CCP virus that Obama tried to send $3.7 million to Wuhan for, to support their research, which is very coincidental because it was the last couple months of his office, and all of a sudden the NIH under this Dr. Fauci decides to fund corona research. And now, I don't believe in coincidences. I think they're mathematically ridiculous, and I hope you do too, because there's no way Obama would have been coordinating for a CCC virus, a coronavirus research, and it just got out just in time to hurt the United States election. And then they start coming up with, oh, we need to do mail-in voting. And George Soros is, of course, oh yeah, we have to do mail-in voting. And all we hear from the Democrats is mail-in voting. And then we hear from people like Tom Fitton, who's very concerned about the voter rolls and who is getting these mail-in ballots and what's happening to them once they're properly filled out and sent. Now, I mail my ballot in every year, or every election, but you probably don't have to. And if you can possibly get to the polls, please do, because I think there's something very fishy about this pushing of mail-in voting and using the CCP virus. That's a really bad. That's really a good trick. I wouldn't have thought of that one, but. Again, I still believe that a lot of these lockdowns and a lot of these stressing the economies, again, is to damage President Trump's re-election chances. The Democrats don't give up. They play the Zelensky rules for radical book, and they're going to keep coming back with fresh attacks. And when one type of strategy gets tiresome, they're going to try a new type of strategy. And race riots are perfect, because I lost 3 subscribers probably just because I didn't denounce a Dennis Rodman story, and I printed it here. I did kill it, actually, because I looked at it and I didn't like it after I read it again. But if you don't like a story, leave a comment. You don't have to unsubscribe, but if certainly you can. But the whole point of it is, people are getting very emotional on both sides of the fence. And I live in 5 countries over 45 years. I don't have the luxury of being so picky. I have to sort of like everybody. And I feel that's really a strength for me, because I have international viewers, and I really cherish that. And this whole idea of using politics and pushing, MSM pushing this continual race issue is, to me, ridiculous. I grew up with it. I've seen it my whole life. I was in the Army for 10 years, and we didn't have, it was a little bit, but not very much race stuff. Everybody really did get along. We were more like Vikings, we all kind of were on the same team, even if we were from different tribes. And it was sort of cool. I like being in the Army. At any rate, we gotta watch out, because this division that they're trying to sow, and the MSM is so successful at, or trying to be successful at, is to drive a wedge between the moderate people and what I'd call a little bit center-right people. And they want to separate those and make them more left, and then isolate the more right. And this, to me, again, is really ridiculous, but that's just the way it goes with politics. And everything we see is political. You know, I'm in my mid 60s. I learned that practically everything that is done in Washington, D.C. has an ulterior motive. And remember, Joe Biden has dementia. The man is demented. He has Alzheimer's, and there's no way he can debate Donald Trump, and they're avoiding it. They're avoiding it at all cost. Biden can't even make a 3-minute ad, much less sit in front of you and talk for 5 minutes coherently. So a lot of us believe Hillary Clinton is going to come in between now and the convention to relieve him of those problems. And not to mention his legal problems. He's under investigation by the Senate for his Hunter business in Ukraine with Burisma Gas. He has the Tara Reid sexual assault case. And Biden was arrested about 40 years ago for being creepy in a woman's dormitory. And we have over 1,000 photographs of him sniffing little girls' hair. I mean, the man is a creep. And there's no way he can be in office, not in the age of Me Too. Donald Trump may have said a few colorful things in private, but locker room talk and actually doing it are two different things. So I'm pretty well convinced Hillary Clinton is going to try to come in and fill this void because Obama supports her wholeheartedly because there's nothing better than a pay-for-play White House. You know, the pay-for-play State Department was a big success, and a pay-for-play White House would make that look like peanuts. So we're going to keep an eye on Hillary Clinton because we're going to be hearing more from her. She's going to be pushing this race stuff. We're going to see it from the MSM. And man, they're just throwing gasoline on a fire. And they're playing with the minds of people that are young, inexperienced, and really don't understand the big picture. So they're out there burning down Wendy's, AutoZones. They attack CNN, which doesn't bother me too much, but they shouldn't have done that either. But all these acts of violence just tell me that these guys are out of control. And then the FBI, instead of discussing it, does a thing on LGBTQ rights, which is very cool because it's LGBTQ month. But the FBI should really be addressing the problems at hand. You know, that's good. I posted that story. I found it a bit amusing and a little sad. At any rate, let's keep an eye on Hillary Clinton and these continued attacks by the MSM to try to damage Donald Trump because I personally believe Trump is on a mission from God and it's all going to backfire. Thanks again for watching. I'm going to go.